Hi, Ovina.
And we are live.
There we go.
Nice to see you today, Queen.
It is a pleasure being on the one experience you experience with you. It's when you introduced me to the U experience. I was actually a spectator. I watched a couple of your seminars or conferences that you had, and it was very intriguing. The conversations, that was taking place, particularly in the religious sector, and having that transparency that everyone was having. Being invited, I couldn't say no. It was a hard kind of question to say no to. So it's certainly a pleasure to be on with you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming, actually. Thank you for yeah, thank you. So we are live, and hopefully we'll be getting comments from your friends and fans, because I know you have a lot of fans, actually. So
this is a lot of things that you're gonna have to get to know about me today. I don't know if I have a lot of fans. I mean, I have a love family and friends, but I don't know about the fans. I think in order for you to have fans, you have to be out there. And I don't like to be out there. I take pride in my privacy. I take pride in loving who I am and the people that I share those private life with. So having fans, you have to be very exposed to the world. And I'm not. So.
Okay. All right, so Queen, yeah. Should I say the other name that I know you by?
Teresa. Yeah, you could use Teresa. Yeah.
Okay.
You say Queen Teresa, interchangeable. It's all good.
Okay. All right. So let me give a brief introduction about Teresa, Queen Magaji. I'll call her Teresa, actually, because that's the name I know her by.
Used to, yes.
Yeah. So Teresa, I've known her for like up to 2 years now, 3 years, couple years, yeah.
I think 3 years now.
3 years, I think so. Yeah. 3 years. So yeah, I've known Teresa for like 3 years, and we've had like 1 or 2 conversations here and back and forth that had to do with IT. I think that was where the conversation started.
It was always about IT.
It was always about IT. Then we grew to be friends as time went by. Yeah, there was, but it got to a point. There was one thing that was actually fascinating. I'm actually going to bring it up because I know she's going to hit me during the course of this conversation. Let me just say it out now. So there was a conversation we had one time. Teresa happened to stumble into that video, and she was straight up. She gave me the tea one time, and she was like, "Nah, men have to do better," and stuff like that. I'm actually saying it now just in case it says it later on. It won't be that hard for you guys to understand. So, but there was actually a lot in terms of Teresa as a person. She's a very open person, and that's one thing that I actually like about Teresa, in the sense that she doesn't hold anything back. She just sees it the way it is, but in a very structured and very, you understand, good way, so that you get to understand what she's trying to say, why she's also passing the message to you. No harms intended. She's just trying to she passes the message. So she's a very interesting person. Very interesting. Has a lot going for her. She recently got married to her wonderful husband,
Magaji. Yes.
Yeah. So I was planning not to make this a marriage meeting. If not, I would have actually brought both of them on here for them.
He will not be on here. He is zero cameras. He doesn't care about the limelight. He knows that I like it. He will thank you, but he's not going to. He'll be in the background. He's in the background, matter of fact. He's listening and supporting me.
So yeah, so Theresa, yes, is a wonderful person. Like I said, wonderful, wonderful person, wonderful lady. She has and always had a lot going for her. I think this before now there was this business she always publicized that has to do with training women in IT.
Women Tech Partners.
Yeah,
So
women, yeah.
yes, so Women Tech Partners is co-founded by I and two other wonderful, talented tech women. And our goal for Women Tech Partners is to be innovative, training, and mentorship. And we started that this year. I'm so happy to say that we are on that trajectory to actually achieving each goal by each step. We've actually started our second training session, and we have a slew of people that are requesting and inquiring about our services. So Women Tech Partners, our website is actually in construction. So really soon we will be putting that out there. You can find us on all social media platforms, Women Tech Partners. Just it's a venture that I wanted to really be a part of this venture because of where I'm coming from. A lot of people that want to get into the IT world perhaps do not want to go back to school. And that was exactly where I was coming from. My background is in nursing and or healthcare. And I've done that for so many years. I normally tell people, when I used to train healthcare IT, I used to tell them I've been a nurse for 15 years and I look so young, and they're like, 15? Well, how did you do that? But as I ventured into IT and I started learning, I actually started up in healthcare IT. So I started understanding more about the IT world. It really ignited something in me that I had suppressed, growing up. When I was in school, in high school and middle school, I wanted to be a computer engineer. I wanted to go that route. However, I was told by a very adorable person in my life, AKA my mother, that I am not that good in math. So therefore, I may not be successful in, going into that aspect of career. And so I have two beautiful mothers in my life. So my second mother says, how about you do nursing? Let's go ahead and do nursing. You start up, you do nursing right out of high school, and you're going to be making so much money. Nigerians, you're going to be making so much money if you do nursing. All your mates that graduated from high school, they will be there trying to figure it out. You'll be making money. I rejected it. I rejected it in so many ways. I started, when I got into school, I was doing pre-pharmacy, completely outside of what I wanted to do as a career, pre-pharmacy. And then I dropped out. And I was like, I don't want to do pre-pharmacy. That's not what I desire to be, as a pharmacist. So I dropped out, and then I went back to what my mother had told me. You are going to be making a lot of money if you do nursing. So that was the reason why I went back to school and became a nurse, because I was going to be making a lot of money. But why doing nursing? There's a way that God, brings things back to its fruition from where you started from. Started getting more interested in IT and found myself in that space. And I think, for us as Christians, if you put your heart, if you tell God, this is what I desire, at a time where I found myself in that space. And I think, for us as Christians, if you put your heart, if you tell God, this is what I desire, at a time where I found myself.
That's you.
Was that you or me?
Yeah, it was something playing on the other screen, because we're trying to track the people commenting or asking questions. Okay, well, yeah, you can go on. I'm sorry.
But yeah, so at a time when you tell God that this is what I desire, God always finds a way to bring it back, to your life. And so that is, I found myself in healthcare IT. God just dropped it on my lap, and I took 100% advantage of. One of the things that I love to do is take advantage of opportunities. And so the opportunity presented itself. And so I took advantage of that opportunity that presented itself, and started as a healthcare IT consultant. Did that for quite a number of years. And the longer I did it, the more I was driving into really embarking into IT. And this is how I found this is how I met and fell in love with my partners that we created Women Tech Partners. Is we were all on the same trajectory. We were, doing IT and just in love with what we did. We never had a conversation when we spoke about anything outside of IT, not our family, not our personal life. It was always, how do we get ourselves to be better and how do we help others become better? Although our name is Women Tech Partners, we want to say that we are women in tech. However, we are for the world. We want to help males, we want to help females, we want to help everyone that is interested in getting into the tech world. So I transitioned and got quite a few training, a lot of training. It has not been an easy road. It's been a road of failure. And, there's times that I've had conversations with you that I'm just like, what am I doing? Can you help me out? Roads of failures. And finally, dive into engineering, finally. So I am proud. But this track is not easy. It's a lot of sleepless nights. It's a lot of nights where I am considering and actually wanting to give up. So nothing easy, nothing good comes easy, right? So I'm very fond of knowing that nothing good comes easy. So I'll keep pushing. But yeah, that's a little bit about me and about how we became Women Tech Partners.
Yeah. So basically, Teresa is actually your queen, rather. Teresa Queen is actually.
You can call me anything that you're comfortable calling me. I'm. That's all of me.
Okay, so she's a professional. She runs a business. She's a wife. She's also professional in the sense that she's actually a professional. She's a health professional. She's also an IT professional. Yeah, and while you were saying one or two things on how you moved from working as a nurse into owning a business with some of your partners, you talked a bit about that process. You understand that it wasn't easy and stuff like that. Tell us a bit in terms of how you got into. Well, before I ask you that, how did you move from health into cloud IT? Before I ask you in terms of your business stuff.
Training. Tons of training. I didn't go back to school. So when I say training, it's self-study, self-thought. I utilize every platform that can possibly get me there. Lots of self-thought, lots of training, lots of boot camps. I was part of a ton of boot camps. And in those boot camps, you get to meet others that are, in alignment and have the same passion as you, or not passion, but have the same desire as you do. And so, so lots of training, lots of book. And when I started, I remember when I felt comfortable to get into the job market and start interviewing, there was a lot of conversations about that. Well, tell me why, you're moving from healthcare. Healthcare is a very sustainable career. Or why are you moving from healthcare to IT? I'm like, well, that's also sustainable. What I'm talking about. But a ton of training, a ton of, in my experience, a ton of giving up and a ton of revisiting, a ton of times where I was studying code and I would do homeworks and I wouldn't understand it. I'm blessed to have a very intellectual, smart husband who's an engineer.
Yeah.
A lot of times when I don't know certain things, he's actually an electrical engineer. However, he knows IT. So he would, help me understand JavaScript. And one of my programming languages that I struggled very hardly on was JavaScript. And he would help me understand this code. And I would like, it doesn't make any sense. And I would I would leave it alone for maybe a week or two and I'll come back. So a ton of that, a ton of not knowing and even doubting yourself a lot of times. Yeah. Do. And I always say to people that I speak to that it's okay to change. There is no rule that keeps you where you're at. There is no rule that puts you in that position. If you feel as though this is going to be a nightmare for the rest of your life, please, by means, look into yourself and find out what else can you do and change. It is not a rule book. Life is all about changing. And if you're thinking, okay, I just, especially with me, started nursing, I'm in IT, who knows? A year from today, I can be in something else, and that is perfectly fine. Life is all about change, and we have to be in the position and being accepting of wanting to change. So, yeah, anybody that's trying and wanting to get into the world of IT, and you're coming from any other fields, whether it be accounting, health, gosh, I don't know. If you've never had any career experience at all and you want to get into it, be mindful that it's not an easy track. It's not something that you are going to get into. Never ever listen to the world that tells you that they make this amounts of money and you're going to be very rich becoming an IT professional. Is that a fact? Yes, but there are so many factors that applies to it where you become that level. So just go in with the mentality that I am going to learn. There are going to be struggles, there are going to be challenges, and I'm going to overcome that, and I will eventually become one of those success stories. So
yeah. So basically, if they are doubting themselves, right, they should try to reignite that thought that actually made them start in the first place, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Then while on the job, also there are also cases where you would have, you have issues and stuff like that. How do you handle such issues? Do you go back to your boot camp or your materials, or
that's
you leverage
when,
on relationships?
That's when people like you came into play. I have I really network, when it comes to professional, although I'm very private and very introverted, but my professional life, I've made it a goal to come outside of myself. So I have a network of people that and this is something, an advice for every other person as well. I have a network of people that I talk to on a daily basis about challenges and experiences that they probably have already experienced that I'm facing, and they get to give me advice on that. I do have a mentor. I think everyone should have a mentor, especially when you're getting into this industry. It's not an industry. You want somebody that has years of experience, has probably gone through what you're going through now, and can give you the right advice and guidance. So I have a mentor, and he is my to-go when I have questions and doubts, and when he doesn't have the answer, he has a huge network of IT professionals that he can send me to, and because they trust him and they trust who he is, I'm able to get help from this slew of people that I've connected with. So that is how I've been able to navigate. Now, when you're on the job and you can get to your mentor, you can get to, this other person and that other person, simply talking to your coworker that knows what they're doing, and literally exposing, not exposing yourself essentially, but exposing your limitations. Hey, listen, I was working on this code I want to deploy, but it seems not to be working. Can you do a one-on-one time with? Do you have a one-on-one time that, do you have a time that I can schedule a one-on-one with you so we can go over the code, and perhaps maybe I can learn something, one or two things from you, right? This is with telling him that you don't know. This is more so you telling him that it's not working. I need you to help me out. And so there's been a lot of those, a ton of those. And IT, another thing that I want people to know is IT is ever changing. IT is not like nursing. If you know nursing, you know nursing. You can go from the hospital to a skilled facility to home health to private duty to every sector of nursing, and you're doing the same exact thing. With IT, no. You go from one organization to the next organization, and you are now a brand new person that knows nada. And it's something that you have to get used to. That's where the challenge comes into play. You get hired as an engineer in one organization, you go to the next organization and you are a test engineer. You've never really done true testing. and you have to learn it, and because you're getting paid, you're getting good pay, so you need to learn it and understand it. And if you don't understand it, I believe that the companies that I've worked with, I'm still working with, are extremely open, knowing that everything in IT is not, straightforward. It's really, it's not, you not, and so they know that, they know that that's the case. So they're lenient and understanding to wanting to work with you.
Okay. All right. So so basically, in summary, IT, switching from health, from being a health professional to becoming an IT professional wasn't that easy, but it was something that was doable. And
Yes,
so far, you're still enjoying it, right?
I am enjoying it. Yes. I am still a
Okay.
nurse. I'm still a nurse. I don't actively practice as a nurse. But if an opportunity presents itself, I'm active.
Yes. So okay, yeah. So you can
Right.
actually, so in terms of business, right? You could actually open like a health center at some point and still run both.
That's correct. So I actually just closed down my healthcare. I had a home healthcare business that I ran for about 7 years, and I recently closed it down because I had a ton of challenges that came up. And so a lot of things that was taking place with that was a lot of regulatory challenges, and not just being able to keep up with those regulatory challenges from the state, from the government. Um, and so that was, yeah, so I still practicing as a nurse. I had a very successful healthcare business. Um, uh, and yeah, I decided to let it go because it just became a bottleneck. It was no longer fun. I went Every time I go into anything, it's always the heart of helping. That's just, I feel like that is where God has called me to. So everything
Yeah.
do, I want to help in any type of way that I can. And so I went into that business not to monetize from it, but to help. And I was so they were giving me so many challenges that I couldn't.
Yeah.
And so it just felt like, why do it, when it's just, there's continuous challenges. So I had to let it go.
Okay. So would you say the challenges you faced while you were actually running that nursing home helped you in your recent business with women in tech?
Just I Well, yeah, absolutely. We don't have any challenges in with women tech partners. But I think that allowed me to be open to having partners. I
Mm.
Yeah. They say in the Bible, it says where two or three are gathered, God is there.
Mhm.
Two head is better than one, right? There's so many
Mhm.
positives in having multiple than having one, right? Sometimes people don't want to share their growth and their profits with others, right? But yeah, so a lot of people
Yeah.
do things by themselves because they want to
Yeah.
gain every, whatever profit that comes, the glory that comes with it. They want to have that,
Yeah.
by themselves. And so with our organization, we believe in sharing. We believe we are three strong tech women that believe
Mm.
in giving. I have one of my partners have trained thousands and thousands of people and have given opportunities to so many people in the industry. It really is a pleasure to be around these women and what we're trying to do and how we're trying to change, our little world that we are part of. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Teresa, I want to ask you this question. So basically, you have a lot going for you, a lot.
Yes.
Would you
Yes.
say it was part of your, let's say, part of your growing up actually planted you where you are now,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you were a kid?
Yeah. It is. It is. Some people were lucky to have families who, they were lucky to have a silver spoon in their mouth. I wasn't. I wasn't brought up in that space, right? So my desire for me and my children was to try to give them a silver spoon that I didn't have, and
Mhm.
to limit them from the struggles that I was not limited to. So yeah, everything that I do is because a part of me is my upbringing. Um, I was brought up to be a strong person. I was brought up to make decisions. Like I was given that autonomy to make decisions for myself. I was brought up in a place where you work. You work. You do not get anything from anybody. You don't expect anything from anybody, and you don't look at the other people, what they're doing. You don't look at the outside world. You focus on you. I had times where my dad would tell me, and I'm like, well, the other kids have this and that. He's like, well, you're not the other kids. You're your kid. You are you. And so whatever they have, don't look at that. Focus on you. So my upbringing had been not from a rich place. You know, my parents were okay. And I grew up wanting so many things and I couldn't get it. So, and I wasn't one that I was brought up in a morally strong family. You know, my parents may not have preached Jesus every day and preached the Bible, but they preached like moral grounding. You're not going to bring shame
Yeah.
to, you're not going to do this and do that. Your name is going to be respected. So that from that point of view, right? So even though I desired, and as a young lady, you know, you're pretty, you're this, and there are expectations that people would think that you're this and the other. No,
Yeah.
I was not one of those people. I was one that never wanted to have anybody call my dad and say, oh, I saw your daughter at such and such and such. If they were, I saw your daughter, man, she was doing this, she was doing that. Wow, you raised a very good daughter. And that was always my goal, was to bring joy and bring pride and proudness to my family.
Yeah. So basically growing up was really not some people would say, okay, because you're here today, that means you probably had rich parents and stuff like
No,
that,
I
which you just
didn't.
explained.
I didn't want to
Yeah.
call them out.
which which you just actually explained.
You didn't want to call
So
my parents out.
yeah, because so many people see successful people today. You understand, even though sometimes people might be modest about it when I say successful people, because Teresa, I actually see you as a successful woman because you're working as a professional, you have a business, you have a husband, and you have God. Actually, that makes you actually successful.
That's right.
So many people will see that your life is going well and think, oh, because this is happening for me, then my background actually made it happen. Basically, certain times your background is actually a training ground for you to grow and become who you're supposed to be.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. And that
Right.
leads me to the next question. How was singlehood as a single woman when you were a single woman? Because
I was waiting for you to
I don't
get
want to say
there.
quite a lot. Yeah. I mean, being who you are, how did you manage it in terms of your who you are and your lifestyle in terms of all that? Yeah.
I managed it very well. I enjoyed it. I'm married to the love of my life. I'm married to someone that I have known for so many years in my in my 20s. And
Oh.
yeah, I didn't meet him yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah, and things didn't work out then. And so I think if after that was when I really enjoyed my singlehood, because I felt like this. I felt like I'm in this young relationship. I have no business wanting to settle, because when we were together on our first phase or whatever I call it, we were very young, and I think that put us in a box essentially to where we thought we knew what we wanted, but we really didn't. So when we parted, I I took advantage of being a single woman. I enjoyed it. I dated. I dated. I'm not ashamed to say that, and my husband is very aware of that. I dated. I dated, but I did it in a healthy way. Women, you do not date and be out here in the streets trying to give everybody your goods. No, that's not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
right. So,
yeah.
so when I say that, I got to know a lot of people. I got to know personalities, characters, and things as such. And I got to make decisions. Think people that weren't good for me, I I didn't continue, entertaining them as a potential partner. So I did a lot of those, and there was a lot of not potential partners. Dating does not necessarily, because what the world dating is in this today's world that we live in is potentially, being translated as you're dating and you're having sex, right, with the person that you're dating. And I don't agree with that notion. Although that is something that is true, but I don't agree, because not everybody goes out to date with that notion. I think dating should essentially be getting to know somebody without any sexual attachment to it, because that's how your mind gets to really decide who this person is for you. Sex blurs that whole perspective. So I even dated, my husband when we started up again. I dated him. I believed that I was supposed to be married before I was consensually having sex with a partner. So I made sure that belief and that God that I was serving was to take precedence over any human being. And I made sure I stayed with that. I really, really followed that law, the God law. So I loved from a pure form, not from a complicated form where you're like, am I loving because the sex is good? Or I loved from a form that I know this person, I see his flaws, I see his dislikes, I see everything that I may not be accepting of, and I am cautiously going in and I am saying yes to this person. That was because we had God in the middle. I made sure God was in the middle. I made sure that we focused on God and not our flesh. And so because of that, and some people go, well, how was he able to handle it? And I'm like, it's God. I can't answer that question for him, the question that he has to answer for him. But it was God. So being single was fun. I enjoyed singlehood. I think every woman should enjoy singlehood. I have stories for days. Stories for days. I think every woman and every man should enjoy singlehood, but don't go into singlehood enjoying it and hurting and breaking people's heart. That's not what the calling is for. It's getting to know people and being very truthful and transparent in your intentions with those people. When I wanted to be married. I knew I was a wife. I knew that God has created me on earth to become mothers of my children. And I did not want to do that without a husband. So when I was dating, I would bring that up. I want to be married. What do you want? And it was, and I didn't say that at the beginning of, the talking, getting the talking state. It was probably, and sometimes I didn't even talk about it. It was my demeanor. I had a guy that I was dating confess without me saying anything. 3 months in, he was like, and I have a 90-day rule. They don't know that, but I do. So my 90 days, so it was 3 months in, and he was like, right now, I don't know if I want to get married and this and the other. And I was like, we never had a conversation about marriage. He's like, yeah, your demeanor, you are a wife, and I don't know if I'm able to give you that. And I was impressed. He was like, you are a wife, and I'm not able to, I don't know if I'm able to give you that. That was it. After that conversation, he never got a call from me again. I never got a call from, no, he called me multiple times. And of course I didn't entertain it because I am a wife and you're not able to give me, that's what I want. And you're not able to give me that. I don't need to move forward with you. And I think a lot of women justify those conversations. Men are telling us the truth. They tell us conversations. It could be us drinking and laughing and enjoying. You said it. You said you like your own space. I'm like, telling the truth.
Oh my word!
Oh
my God! You brought that up. I knew you were going to say it. Anyways, I knew you were going to say that stuff. Jeez. Oh my God! Teresa, God have mercy. Okay, yeah. Do you want me to explain that?
Yeah, please. I need the world to know because I'm still trying to understand a man that is out here single wanting to be married, and then at the same time saying he wants his own space. Isn't that oxymoron? I don't know, but, oh God, please tell the world, what do you mean by that? Because I too want to know.
Oh my God.
Like,
I thought we've gone past this. I thought we went past that.
no,
Okay.
I need to know what was that about? What was that whole?
Oh, okay. It was so now there's so many people joining in because you just asked that question, and I know that's what's going to happen. But anyways, I'm just going to say what I have to say, and I wanted. What I'm saying is that I mean, singlehood, like you said, is actually that we should enjoy singlehood. It's not that I don't have the intention to get married. I want to get married. I've been looking forward to that since when I was in my first year in the university. Right, I've been looking forward to it in a very long time.
That transparency.
Yeah. It's not that I don't want to get married, but and I've actually been into relationships back and forth. Some of them I probably wouldn't call relationships. Some of them I would say, okay, fine, it was just like just talking and all that stuff. But the thing is, being single as it stands, for me is also a learning phase into being married, right? I feel if I'm not good enough, right, for myself, then I'm not good enough for another person. It's not that if I see my wife now, I wouldn't actually ask her to get married to me because she has to love me and the whole of me for her to want to be in that marriage. And I also have to look at her and see her faults and her, you understand, the good side and the bad side, and say, okay, fine, I'll make that decision and say, okay, fine, I could actually manage her bad side and also live with that, right? So when I said my space is because as a single person, right, living alone, right, I come back home, I could do anything. I could literally do anything. But if I get married now, which I want to actually, I'm telling the world now, if I get married now, which I want to,
single
right,
ladies,
certain things will change. Certain things will change. If in the night I'm eating maybe snacks and I wouldn't care and just go to bed, I wouldn't do that if I have a wife.
why not?
Right? We'll have to eat. No, like we'll have to eat something good, meal, something. If she says she wants to eat food, if she says she wants to eat food,
that's not a law.
Yeah, it's not a lot. If she says she wants to eat food, now I can just have snacks in my fridge and I won't worry, even though I go in hungry, you understand? But if I'm married to someone and she says she wants food and I have just biscuits in my fridge and I say, okay, just go and eat that biscuit and go to bed. That's not a good husband. Then I've actually not provided for my family, right? Because I can actually go to bed just eating biscuit doesn't mean she would go to bed eating biscuit. Right.
No.
So
I can tell you that's not a good husband though.
Yeah, that's fine. But what I'm saying is I could live my life like that and not worry about anybody. Right. That was why I said, oh, my space. I mean, I could do anything and I wouldn't worry about what the next person is thinking. But if I have a wife coming, or I have my girlfriend coming, or my fiance coming, then certain things will change. Okay, right. If I don't have you go on, ask a question.
So, no, this is not actually, it's going to be a comment. So when I was preparing for marriage, when I knew that I was ready, I started not in my own space. I started inconveniencing myself. I started creating a space for my husband. Started making it was a conscious action. You know, although I believe in the Bible, I believe in God, I'm a Christian. I also have this thing that I call law of attraction, right? Out there is what you receive, right? So I started putting out there what I wanted when I was truly ready. Because like you said, you know, singlehood is the time that you get to know yourself. And this is why it's important for you to date, because you get to know what is a non-negotiable for you, what you know for sure you're not going to handle. That is why for me it was fun, because I intentionally dated. I didn't date to have fun. I wasn't going, oh, I'm bored, I need a man to buy me food. I can buy myself food. I can, right? So when I was dating, I was intentionally dating. Yeah, of course it came with the glam and all of the stuff, because of course you're not going to come to me and not represent yourself. So you're going to present yourself the right way. You're going to give me that lifestyle. However, that was not My intention when dating was to get to know somebody on the inside of them. The outside of them was, was something that would come later, so getting to know that person on the inside, what their beliefs are, what their moral values are, and all of those things were very important. I asked really key questions, like, I will ask incidental questions, like, so if you had what was one of the questions that I will ask, just to get to know where the thought processes were. Say you have a situation with your family, and you have a situation with your wife. Your wife needed you the same time that your family needed you. How would you manage that? Right? And I want them to ask me the same questions. I want to answer it too. And they would tell me. So one person was like, should my family come first? My wife is just secondary, blah, 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 blah. That's not what the word says. The word says he leaves his family and becomes one with his wife. So I wanted to hear in that conversation was, my wife will come first. However, as I take care of my wife, I want to make sure that I'm giving the same care to my family. And I would hope my wife will understand that. That's what I was because that now puts a responsibility on the wife or the potential wife or the girlfriend. Like, this is his, he's going to put you first, but understand that his family also will be there as well. His family will not be first. So I'm lucky and blessed to have a family and married to a family where my mother-in-law said that. Mother-in-law says, you're first, we're secondary. Like, she belonged that to me. And that is like, that it warms my heart, when she said that. However, as a wife, I should know that his family is before me. He knew me and he knew who I was. His family was always there. His family will always be there after me in any events. So I need to understand that his family will be there. Right. But as long as he's putting me first, he's placing me first, and he's looking at me, he's putting me in that position of first, I should give him every leverage and every opportunity to take care of his own. So when that man said that, that was it. That was it. Another man told me that I will be so lucky to be with the man that will marry me will be so lucky. Yeah. So I'm dating you and you're telling me the man that will marry me will be so lucky. So why am I here? What are we doing? So that means you don't have any intentions and any plans for me. These are and this is during conversations. This is during conversations that you're having with people. This is not, question and answer grilling the man. If you do that, you're never going to get the right answer, because this man is going to give you perfect scenario answers. And you're always going to feel like, oh, he said this and that. These are like just normal. We're laughing, we're talking, no pressure. And he's being his 100% authentic self. And he's like, man, you know what? The man that will marry you will be so lucky. I was like, oh, really? Okay, well, that's good to know, and if I challenged him and said, what do you mean? I thought he would have then changed it and said, no, I meant me.
I'm defensive, yes.
Really telling me what his heart was. And in my opportunity was not to challenge that question, was to receive it and store it and know that he ain't the one that's going to marry me.
Yeah.
So be careful what you say, because you may end up meeting somebody like me that may not ask you a lot of questions, but will watch your behavior.
That's a good advice.
Yeah. And will watch your behavior, what you say. She won't ask you a lot of questions. She'll be her authentic self, but she'll watch how you do things, what you say. She'll see how you behave around people. That's me. I will watch you. I will see how because you can be the perfect person. You can say the perfect things. A lot of people say the perfect things. They know how to talk, right? So I'm not here to listen to your words. I'm here to listen to your actions. And not your actions towards me alone, but your actions towards all others when we're out. How do you handle things with your family, people that you dislike? How do you approach that? What do you do to resolve those issues? Because I'm thinking, as you're doing this, if I marry you, you probably do the same, because this is your authentic self. You probably do the same thing to me. So I need to know before I move forward. Um, and I think for me, that's why a lot of people call me picky. Because I was never picky in looks. I was picky in so many other things that was really core to what I wanted in a man. And it was never looks for me. Looks came as an addition, but it was core. Were you a faithful person? How many times did you cheat on your wife? I mean, not your wife. How many times did you cheat on your girlfriend? What were the reasons why you cheated on your girlfriend? You know, did it make sense? Because I'm gonna process those. I'm gonna help you justify those reasons. And if as I'm justifying them and they don't make sense to me, what do you think about cheating? Why is cheating not good?
Those are the questions you ask. Yeah, those are tough questions.
I know. I'm looking at you like, oh God. Yeah, so those are things. So why is cheating not good? Because if you are saying you don't have to finish your sentence. I already know.
Yeah.
What's your 5-year goal? What's your 5-year goal? It can be personal goals. I stopped talking to another person 90 days in. It's always 90-day rule, ladies. So whoever is listening, please make sure, especially if you're up to age, if you're reaching 30, you have a desire to be you want to be married, you have a desire to meet the love of your life. There's no time for you. You are going to go out there, you're going to put yourself out there, you're going to date, and you're not going to justify, because when we say date, women, we love to love. We meet somebody, he's everything we want, physically, perhaps financially. We want a man that's rich, that can take care of us, that can give us the world, that can fly us there, that can take us on vacations so we can post pictures on Instagram and Facebook. And then we forget the core of who we want in our lives. Because all of those things, man, let me tell you, when you're in a relationship, and when you're in a marriage, not a relationship, when you're in a marriage, a true marriage, this is why billionaires' wives are divorcing them. You think if that was the importance, you think that woman would still be, it would not be there? She would. But now the core now takes precedence over the flying, the private jet, all the other things. So for me, I never went into any type of relationship or any type of dating looking at that. Do I want an ambitious man? Do I want a man that has purpose, that has a plan for himself? Because if he does, then he's going to become somebody. Absolutely. Out of the requirement. But I went in looking at core of a man. When you're dating, you get to know who you're dating, their behaviors. Even, I say don't judge, their friends, because I used to, and still perhaps, I don't know, but I used to have friends that if my boyfriends at the time judged the people I hung out with, they probably would say I'm those people. And some of the men that I dated actually did think that. And the path, the career, one of the things that you may not know about me is my passion, which you don't know, is motion picture. I'm an actress.
Really?
I knew you were going to be surprised. Yes. So
you're an actress. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Yes. That's
so there's
okay.
A lot of things about me. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of things that that makes me complex. So as I'm dating, they're looking at all of this complex part of me that's like, and the ones that truly want to go into my core, my husband being one of them, he took away this side of me. When I met him, I was diva. I was, now I feel like I've calmed down because now I'm married, but I was that typical fine girl, this thing, you can't do it. I was her. And I took pride in it. You can't talk to me if you didn't have a certain amount. He ignored all that nonsense and he focused on me. And the more he focused on me, the more I calmed my Black ass down and I focused. I was like, wait, this guy is the real deal. Like, he's not, and he got to see me. Like, when he told me, I remember when he told me that the day that I asked you for your number was, I got to see your true self. I went past the surface stuff that you use to block men, right? And I internal, and he was like, man, I saw a sweet, selfless person and he just started breaking me down, and I'm like, wow, this is when we're young. I'm like, oh, he is serious. He knows me, and So dating, for any woman, I'm talking too much. Okay. For any woman or man is getting to know that person, knowing that
Yeah.
person. It doesn't take long to know people. Because people are always going to show you who they are every year. So it's not like I need to know him, know everything of him. But there are core values, moral compass, those things that makes them. I've dated church worship leaders. I've dated, people that prayed, that fasted, prayed, and all that stuff, right?
Mhm.
Christian sisters that must marry the guy in church. Go and find his moral compass. Go and find his core, who he truly is, because that is a facade. That is what he presents to the world. Who he truly is, he is not presenting. Find that, then you found your one. And that is me. You're Christian. I'm not an advocate of going to church and finding your husband. Go to church and find the core of who you want. Same with men. Because she's a choir leader, she's this, that, and the other. Oh, she's the one. She'll pray, she'll fast, or she'll find the core. Is this woman going to lead your family? Because you're the head, she's the neck. Is she going to be able to move you in the right direction and raise your kids the way your heart desires? Find the core. That church choir leader thing, that's her presentation. That's her presentation. Yeah. That presentation is over. Who is she?
That's a good one, though. That's a very good one. Yeah. So yeah, you've actually said a lot from your career to singlehood to be married and also to being a businesswoman. Yeah, that's quite a lot. Even I just found a new one. You're actually an actress.
I am.
That's a new one. That's a new one.
I am DB.
Yeah, that's a new one. That's really nice. Yeah, that's quite a lot of information you just disseminated today.
I know.
Within the hour. Yeah. So what will be your final thought in terms of let me specify your final thoughts towards single women trying to get partners in the long run, trying to get married, because I know some single women don't really want to get married. You understand? And some single men don't want to get married, which is actually their choice. That's not a problem.
That's fine.
Right? That's not a problem. Yeah, that's fine. So for those that are single, what would be your thoughts towards them in terms of how to progress their life into becoming married? Right. Yeah.
Work on you. There should be no rush into marriage. Marriage is forever. When you're in, have the attitude of this is it. So imagine you being with the same person for 50 something years. Why are you rushing? So work on you. Be your very best self. Work on, I believe in therapy. If there are any internal hurt from childhood that will limit you or would affect your family, meaning your husband and your kids, work on that. Be your very best self. Don't financially depend on any man. Let you a help meet to a man. Come in telling the man, I'm here to help meet you. You're going to be my provider. That's your responsibility. But as a woman, I am going to help meet you in every area that you lack. It doesn't have to be just financially. It could be just a psychological area. It could be spiritual area. It can be emotional. You need to work on you to become that woman that will be a helpmeet in all areas, not just financially. Because a lot of times when we say help me, we're talking financially. Help me in all areas. And continuously work on yourself. This is things that I'm continuously doing. I'm continuously working on myself. I'm very transparent in this area. I have a therapist that when I'm having issues and I know that it's going to affect my husband, I talk to my therapist. I see his point of view. He tells me either you're doing this or you're doing it. He guides me right. And I come back and I become a refreshed person for my husband. There's nothing wrong. The topic of therapy in the African, community or African American community is such a taboo that we don't talk about it, but it's so healthy. We're beginning to tap into that, and we're beginning to have healthy people. Men are beginning to become healthy. Men have so many traumas. Men also need to work on themselves. What men do is they work on themselves financially. They become great. My husband, in one of our conversations, he said, I only thought that being a husband was to financially provide for the home. Now I realize that that's not it. There's so much to being a husband. A lot of men go into becoming a husband to say, am I not taking care of her? What else does she want from me? That's not it. There's so much to being a husband. There's so much to being a wife. As women, we need to work on ourselves to becoming that wife for our husbands. As men, you have to work on yourself to becoming that husband for your wife. So yeah, for both parties, work on yourself.
Yeah, there's this comment that I saw on social media. Even though, actually there was this guy that said, get healing before getting into a relationship.
Yes.
So that it doesn't affect, the core of your family.
And I completely agree with that. In 2020, I became an advocate for therapy. I knew it was important, but I just never actively pursued it. And I remember having family members who would do counseling, church counseling. And one particular family member, I told her that, I think therapy is better. And I think she had this back and forth. Well, they're all the same, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, well, that's your viewpoint. I'm going to leave it alone. But I know how therapy helps you come out of certain things, trauma, thought processes and things like that. So for me, I am a true advocate of men. Yeah, getting healing. There's so much trauma. There's so much insecurities that men carry on a day-to-day basis, not incapability of delivering as a man. And they go through life with that and they take it in, they keep it in, it bothers them. Then they become husbands, they become fathers, and it affects them in so many areas and they don't know. It's so important to talk to somebody. You don't necessarily got to go to a professional therapist, but have that person that you trust that you can just blur out everything that is bothering you and have that person guide you in the right space. A trusted party, but it's important. I'm an advocate of it.
Yeah, Teresa, Queen Magaji. It's been a fantastic discussion. And I know your husband is around there side saying hi to him. Hopefully he hears me. So this has actually been a fantastic conversation in terms of not just reaching out to women, but to men too, from living their life from when either moving careers or when they are singles or becoming married or stuff like that. I've said that before. But the thing is that in how to navigate life, it all comes with making the right decision and making sure that you decongest yourself, you understand, and live life. Basically, enjoy life. That's basically it.
Yes.
Enjoy life and don't get entangled in the activities that comes with life, but just make sure you live life in a very free mode and openly. When you were saying something about dating and meeting people, it also makes sense in the sense that you're trying to get to know people before you come to that point where you make a decision on how to move to the next stage of your life, which is transitioning from being a single person to becoming a married person. So not going out there as a single person to destroy other lives, but also to, you understand, make relationship and see where it leads at certain points in time. So yeah, Teresa, you actually did give a lot out today, and I really, really do appreciate your time. And
it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot you actually. Hopefully we get to, I don't know, we'll work that. I'll say that off camera, right? If it happens that you're actually less busy sometime again, we could actually invite you to come talk more in terms of how to navigate this thing we call life.
I love that. I don't know a lot. I'm still learning, but I'll definitely be able to impact what I've learned a little knowledge to others.
Yeah, I believe you've been led to say in relation to that. I believe you've been led to, you understand, talk to people in relation to that. One of which, because before now our conversations were actually just tech, specifically. But one of the reasons why this came about was because of what you said when after that show that I did and stuff like that. It really, really went into my head, and I said, yes, this, if it was just you that caught up with that conversation, then it makes sense. Probably so many other people caught up with that conversation and they didn't really say anything. It was just the fact that Theresa pointed it out and said, this, and that, and that, and that. What do you think about that? Why do you think that is normal and stuff like that? You question the norm in the sense that, oh, men, you should do better in the sense that, but the thing is that men also have their own lifestyles.
Yes.
You understand, and stuff like that. So it's just what it is. But I thank you really so much. Thank you so much. I can't wait for you to come back and say a lot, like really, really say a lot in terms of focusing on how young people, young folks should live, not just a life that's a Christian life, but also within that Christian life, making decisions that are right. Because you said something, that Christianity sometimes is like a facade where they place it at the front to make people look at them as if and say, okay, fine, you're actually a good Christian person. But really, internally, that's not the person. Yeah. So yeah. So that really is an important information that we young folks need to really understand, right? Not to go with what we see on Instagram and stuff like that and live the normal life so that we can achieve what we need to achieve. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining in. I've been a lot of questions. But thank you guys so much. We would go off air and yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Yeah. Let me leave the meeting.